Nigel! Hey! Nigel, look. Look at what I bought. Look at what I bought.
Oh, what's that? Better bits?
No. I got us an early Christmas gift, and I sure do hope Muddy gets along with him.
What? What is that?
I think they told me it was called a Moogway.
I've never seen anything like it.
Neither have I. Well, I think first things first, we get this guy into the bath, and then I'm going to go out later around, say, midnight, and I'm going to pick us up some McDonald's. I think we should get this guy a couple of fries, seeing as how, well, they didn't tell me what kind of food Moogways eat, so, well, off we go, up to the bath. Wish me luck, bye-bye.
Okay, pal, you do that.
Nigel!
What?
Come here!
What? Oh no, what happened to this furry little guy?
I don't know. I found him like this.
Looks like some kind of a cocoon.
A what? A cocoon, right? Yes. Okay. So it's not dead. It's just sleeping.
I guess so.
All right. Now before I get to cooking, I'm gonna go upstairs and check on that cocoon. I just hope that little guy is okay in there.
Yeah, me too.
Nigel, the cocoon, it's open. It's out. It's in here. What the? I think that came from in the kitchen.
Dane? No!
Why does this always happen to me?
Dane? Dane? Oh, that's rich.
Wait, did I tell you about the 5th grade story?
What?
Okay. So, in 5th grade, there was this lovely classmate with this tablet, and he downloaded some.
There was this lovely classmate.
Well, he was this guy with a tablet, and he was like, "Hey, bro, check out this," and he downloaded some videos, and they were like the crazy kind, like the super like 13-incher against tiny blonde kind of deal.
Oh,
And he's
13 inches.
and he's like, "This is so good, bro. This is so hilarious." And my other friend, he's like, "Oh, it's a snake."
Oh my god.
And I'm standing over him, and he's like crouched down.
And you burped on him and it like came out?
Yeah. Went on his back. Oh my god. One of the worst days of my life. I handled it well though, from what I remember. Ooh.
All right, what?
No, because that also was my fault, because that one had some juice, and that it surely would have went all over my keyboard.
What do you remember?
Oh well, I just remember I was like, because he turned around and looked up at me like, and I raised my hands up like I was getting arrested. And I was just like, "I'm sorry." That was not. I remember the first words was, "That's not puke," but. And I remember he didn't know what was going on, because I wasn't throwing up, but there was definitely something on there. Oh, it was terrible. Oh my god.
That's not puke. But
Merry Christmas, Peepers.
hey, creepy peeps, it's me and Dane back for another episode, and this one's really exciting because this is our first technically new episode revolving around a Christmas film. Because as some of you may remember, we did release the Grinch or re-release the Grinch a couple weeks ago, but it was originally published back in January. But this one is our first real Christmas movie that's going to be released as an episode around Christmas time. So we're excited about that.
That's right,
Also,
everyone. We've got a lovely Christmas episode for you to listen to right now as a Christmas Peepers present for you.
did you say Peepers?
No?
No.
But should I say the movie?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, who cares? You know what you clicked on. We're talking about Gremlins. I love this film. And so does Nigel.
That is true. I actually listened to both this movie's theme song and the Gremlins 2 theme song pretty frequently.
Yes. And so did Little Dane 10 years ago from this very night. I'll say this, and I don't know if this is a hot take. Gremlins 2 is my preferred Gremlins film. I'm not sure why, but it is. But I still very much love the original Gremlins because it is part of that wonderful genre of movies of, is this a Christmas movie? Well, it's got scary stuff in it, and that's not very Christmassy for my kids. And I don't like it at all. But it's, and there's people like me who, can't stand the elves after a while. I've already grown up with Rudolph. I've already grown up with Casper Christmas Holiday Special. Is that even a thing? I don't know.
It probably is.
Yeah, it probably is. At this point, it probably
they had a Flintstones Santa Claus commercial, and it wasn't even that doesn't even make the slightest bit of sense, all right?
But my point is there's people like us, well, I mean, maybe not Nigel specifically, but me who our preferred Christmas films are the darker ones. And Gremlins certainly isn't the darkest, but it's one of those, is this a Christmas film? It's about little green creatures, not Santa Claus. So
who is this character?
This is the person who refuses to believe any movie that has Christmas elements but still remains dark is not a Christmas movie. That's what that person thinks. But I'm one of those people where, I don't care if you're Jaws 4 and you only have a few Christmas lights strung up over Amityville Island. I'm going to count you as a Christmas movie. You are now the Jaws Christmas special. Congratulations. Same thing with Gremlins. Even though it's the first movie, congratulations, Gremlins. 1, you're the Christmas special. Same with Batman Returns or Die Hard. We already have our Christmas specials that we refuse to watch. Star Wars.
Monsters, Scary Little Christmas.
Monsters, yeah. So, you guys need to get over yourselves, and you need to face the fact that, yes, Gremlins, Die Hard, Batman Returns, these are Christmas movies that we need to cherish dear with the rest of these. Take a look at the company around them, okay? You got the creepy stop motion people from Rudolph. This is creepy elves. I'm a dentist. Don't touch my mouth. Do not touch my mouth. I will tackle your little wooden elf, whatever, down to the ground and ruin the whole set. Okay? My point is, here we are with Gremlins, and we're not going to cover any blatant Christmas movies on this show, as if you guys couldn't guess already. We're going to cover the Christmas films around the Christmas season that have that creepy element to them. And, one day we'll be scraping down at the bottom of the barrel. We'll be covering Santa versus Krampus and
Santa Claus 1 through 3.
Exactly.
Actually, can I say something? Can I say something?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw. Did you see the Santa Claus 3?
I don't think. Is that the new one? Or
That's no. That the new one is the Santa Clauses. That's
okay.
the Disney Plus show. The Santa Claus 3 stars Martin Short as Jack Frost.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I used to see a bunch of trailers for that. That's
I'm
right.
not gonna lie, dude. That was unironically one of my favorite, but like inexplicable, genuinely one of my favorite movies around Christmas. But not even because I liked it. It was because I liked Martin Short.
Right.
I hate the Santa Claus movies.
Yeah.
It's not for the reason you think. I love Tim Allen. I actually genuinely love the movie Christmas with the Cranks, a movie that has been critically panned for years, but I genuinely like it. I think there's some redeeming qualities in it. It's not like some genius comedy or anything. I like it because it's got a good ensemble cast and it's got good banter and a few good jokes. If you've got good banter, I like you. You don't have to be
We like
hilarious.
you.
Just give me some good banter. Give me characters that I believe would interact.
Right.
But
Give me a little bit of that. Hey, do you need that much makeup on, honey? Hey, you can't get it up, Phil. Oh, never mind. Give us some of that around the holidays.
that's true. Yeah, and yeah, Christmas the Cranks. But here's the thing: the Santa Claus. Oh man, okay. I remember I saw the Santa Claus the first time I was a kid. I was like, I'm turning this off, and I can remember why. Because then I was watching it later on. Because a lot of people in my family are like, "Oh, I love this movie." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't think I've even seen this movie." And I watched it. I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this movie." All right, this movie is disgusting. It genuinely the amount of fart jokes in it for
Oh
no
my God.
reason make me want to kill myself.
Unreasonable fart jokes in a comedy. It's an instant down for me.
But it's not even like there are plenty of movies that just have random fart joke and it's like, all right, that's annoying. But here's the thing: this one's different. This one's like, it's not just unnecessary. It's like I can't. Past that point, I can't watch the movie. Like it's annoyingly, it's stupid.
It's too
like,
much.
But it's not even the Minions like Despicable Me fart gun. Okay, I can watch that and be like, okay, that's I'd even say that's a little funny. I remember playing with
And
the fart gun.
they even made fart gun toys.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I've been
Yeah.
over to a friend's house who had the fart gun, and I've been like, okay, it's kind of funny. Here's
Right.
the thing, okay. I don't know what it is, but this movie is like different to me. This movie like makes me uncomfortable. And it's because like, okay, first you've got Scott Calvin, he's like, oh my gosh, Santa just died on my roof in front of my
Right.
kid. And first of all, that's a little morbid, but like everyone's made that joke, so I can kind of get past it. Not only
Right.
that, but there's apparently a whole fan theory that actually makes it seem a little less dark, and that I actually like, and that I actually heard about earlier today. It was that Scott Calvin was always supposed to be Santa, and that the reason why that whole thing happened, and the fact that Santa was even making so much noise enough so that Scott would have come outside in the first place, was because this was all like an elaborate setup. not in a dark
Oh.
way, but in like a like a passing of the torch kind of way, which is actually kind of
So
sweet. I
so
actually wouldn't mind.
Santa. So did that Santa in the fan theory? Did that Santa? Sorry, I dropped a priceless medallion. Um, did that Santa live? Like, did he pretend to die, or did he like sacrifice himself for the greater good of Christmas?
Basically, he sacrificed himself. I think, yeah, because they show him later. They show him, I think, like right after. I can't remember if it's before he leaves or after he already leaves on the sleigh. The Santa who fell off the roof actually lifts his arm up and like waves goodbye.
Yeah.
And I do remember that from watching the movie. But yeah, it's okay. So it's like that's fine. That I have no problem with. But then when he just goes up to the reindeer and they just start farting for no reason. Like it's not even like it's for no reason. It's not like, oh, we like, okay, just it's I was having trouble comparing it to something, but this is a perfect comparison here. There's an episode of Seinfeld
Oh my
where
God.
Kramer buys Costco beefarino. Like he buys just a bulk ton of this like pasta and beef canned food. It's just this like low quality canned meat. But anyway, point is, he feeds it to this horse. He's doing one of those handsome cabs in New York, and he feeds the horse this beefarino, and then later on, the horse starts farting. There's no
Oh,
sound effect added. It's just that it smells really bad, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this is terrible." Now, see, not only is that entertaining and funny, but it also isn't just like there's actual stakes as to why it's happening.
right.
Because of this causes the people that Kramer's giving the handsome cab ride to be like, all right, we're out of here, which ruins George's scheme to keep them out of the house so that he can deliver some bread to them that he forgot to bring them during a dinner party. It's like a whole thing, but it also there's like something involved. The
Right.
reindeer farting in Santa Claus has no plot significance. It's just there, and it's
It
just
it
there's no
ruins
reason for it. They
it.
don't eat weird. It's just they're just doing it just to do it, which wouldn't be so much of a complaint if this was any company other than Disney, which up until like literally The Lion King, they went out of their way never to include that sort of humor in
This
their
is true.
movies.
This is true. And Santa's reindeer are, mythical creatures. And it I could totally understand it seeming out of place because like, you know, it all that respect, I guess, for the flying reindeer goes out the window. What it's like, really? That's kind of like if Superman, you know, it's a bird, it's a plane. You guys are blind. It's Superman, and he jumps down, and he's like, "Hello, everyone. I am here." Oh, you guys hear that? Was that a super fart? I gotta go. Wait.
To be honest, that's actually I might actually be curious as to what the story. Oh, was that a super fart? Oh my god!
Well, speaking of Santa's dying, let's talk about Gremlins.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot. I forgot what we were doing here for a second.
Well,
Yes. Okay.
we're here talking
Gremlins
about Gremlins.
is a 1984 Joe Dante comedy horror starring
Zach Galligan as Billy. I almost said it backwards. Phoebe Cates as Kate. Real clever, guys. And Howie Mandel. Yes, the Howie Mandel. Is this COVID? Is this a symptom of COVID? That Howie Mandel.
I forgot about that.
He's the voice of the little gremlin Gizmo. and there's a slew of other cast members that I'll think of along the way. But other than that, this is the story of young Billy being gifted a mysterious gift, which turns out to be a mogwai. And he's like, "Oh my god!" And the dad's like, "This is a pet. Here you go. I stole it from a little boy in Chinatown." And basically, they figure out the mogwai. If you get it wet, it gives birth. It multiplies. If you give it sunlight, it doesn't like it. It melts. It dies. And if it eats after midnight, they turn into evil, scaly versions of themselves, and they wreak havoc. They gain much more mass, and that's pretty much where the main plot comes from. And all of this happens on Christmas. And so this is our Christmas pick.
And do you want to explain the controversy over that last rule, actually? Because a lot of people have. I remember hearing about this.
Yes.
As
If
a
this
young
is-
boy too.
Yeah. If this is what I think you're thinking of, they actually say this in the second movie too. But the eating after midnight, there's a I guess a loophole, if you will, that it's always midnight somewhere on the planet, and time zones change between different areas on Earth, and so which here's the thing, I always thought that was kind of stupid. Is this the right thing you were talking about, Nigel?
Yeah, that's exactly. I was
Okay.
gonna say, yeah. People said like, well, it's kind of always after midnight, depending on.
Right, depending on where you are. But then I always come back to that and think, well, that's just it. The Gremlins are at that part of the world where it's midnight, so it works. That's where
Yeah.
I feel like there is, because they're for all we know, the Mogwai could be aliens. So maybe that's how they work, is through you know the time zones.
Yeah,
But
that's real clever, man.
what? That's
What?
I said it. I wanted to talk about this being our first, but not the last, mention of Joe Dante. Because Joe Dante's directed a slew of other wonderful films that we're going to talk about in the future, including Twilight Zone, the movie. What's the one? American Werewolf? No, The Howling. He directed The Howling. American Werewolf is outlandish. But
I do know
yeah.
The Howling.
What else did Joe Dante direct? He directed.
Did he do Howling too?
I think he did do Howling too.
Oh,
He
we
might
gotta
have.
cover Howling too at some point. It's one of the funniest movies. Have you
Um,
seen it? Oh, it's so funny.
He also
Christopher
did.
Lee has like these sunglasses.
Who has sunglasses?
Christopher Lee is wearing these retro sunglasses. in
Ooh,
this one
Christopher
scene.
Lee's in it.
Oh, he's in it.
Okay, he's in Gremlins too. So Joe Dante definitely probably did Howling too then. But yeah, this is our first Joe Dante movie, and this was I think the first Joe Dante film that I watched in my life. And there is so much to talk about this movie. I guess what I want to start with, where Gremlins came from, that I found out, is Gremlins were a World War II term about basically anything faulty with any plane or vehicle or whatever. If the planes was going wrong, if anything went wrong, us U.S. soldiers blamed it on Gremlins inside the machinery. And
that's actually interesting that you said that. I was actually going to ask you if the term gremlin had been, because you hear it now, but you just think of the movie. But something that actually is interesting has, since you say that, there are other times I've heard the word gremlin, especially in 2010s or 2012, somewhere around there. Epic Mickey 2 and the first Epic Mickey, there are these little companions that you can meet throughout the game called Gremlins, and they're all mechanics. They will all fly into a machine and get it working again.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so the fact that if that's like what the original usage of the term was for, then that's very clever of them.
Yeah. Uh, I'm tracing back like the history of Gremlins. Um, there was that first World War II like term. Then I think a little after or during World War II, there was the Bugs Bunny cartoon where Bugs Bunny does something with a gremlin, and there's a part where he's looking at the camera and he's like, "I think there's a gremlin," and this gremlin is on his shoulder, and he goes, "Oh my god!" Like one of those parts you were just telling me about earlier.
Oh yeah. A little bit of a Nigel and Dane thing going on there.
Yeah. Um, and then the next time the next famous gremlin, pre-Gremlins the movie, the next famous gremlin, which ties sort of back into Joe Dante, even though he didn't direct that specific segment. The next sort of famous use of a gremlin is in the original Twilight Zone TV show in the episode Nightmare at 40,000 Feet, where William Shatner has a night on a airplane and he looks outside the window and sees a much larger and hairier but definite gremlin on the wing of the plane ripping it apart, and he's like, "Oh my god, there's a gremlin on the plane like in World War II." And everyone's like, "Huh?" And and that's how that goes. And then John Lithgow plays William Shatner's part in the remake in the 1983 Twilight Zone movie that Joe Dante directed the one of the episodes for. So it all ties back. And Joe Dante is a lover of the old Looney Tunes cartoons, which is very blatant in many of his movies, including Gremlins. And that's definitely where all these guys first heard about Gremlins. So it's cool. I think it's cool to see the the men who grew up with Looney Tunes uh and old 50s adventure and monster films, then start to get big budgets in the 80s and make films based off of these concepts that they grew up with. Does that make
That's
sense?
Yeah, I was gonna say that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's really a testament to because I've been hearing a lot about this recently. Looney Tunes and like Tom and Jerry, a lot of those really early cartoons are very inspiring to filmmakers today, and I
Yeah,
think that that's a testament to how creative they were with what they did. These were the first cartoons that weren't like weren't exclusively song driven.
that's
Like
right.
like Merry Melodies, just like kind of Looney Tunes and stuff, and even with the odd opera Looney Tunes episode, they don't like Tom and Jerry especially. They they were the first to kind of like kind of pull away from the whole okay we're gonna put a orchestra here and they're just gonna play a song and then we're gonna have random stuff happen during that song like Betty Boop and stuff like that.
Right.
So the creative stuff they got to do with like the cartoon effects in those sort of cartoons led to things like Johnny Knoxville says that a lot of the stunts that they do on Jackass, the movies at least, were inspired by like Tom and Jerry and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, but you can also tell like movies like The Mask that take direct
Yeah.
inspiration for like those early aughts cartoon effects.
And Gremlins 2 blows that wide open. I mean, Gremlins 2 is like watching a live action Looney Tunes cartoon. But in Gremlins 1, you can definitely see the little hints of, because there's definitely like classic cartoon sound effects that you hear in the film, like the slip, and the that shaking one.
Oh yeah, your favorite?
Yeah, yeah, my favorite. I love that one. And I think that's Joe Dante's favorite because he literally uses that sound anytime he can. Anytime. I'm talking every movie I think I've seen of this guy. This sound effect has been in Gremlins, Gremlins 2, even Twilight Zone the movie. But that makes sense because the story he directed was all about a little kid who could dream up anything he wished, and the kid watched nothing but Looney Tunes cartoons all day. So Joe Dante, I think, was a perfect fit to talk about that story, but we'll save that for Twilight Zone. He definitely implements the cartoony, not only sound effects, but like you said, sort of situations that like Jackass would go on to use. Like I think like at the end, Gizmo in the little pink Barbie car,
Oh, yep, that's one of my
yeah,
favorite parts.
doing all the little stunts and jumping up and hitting the curtain. That I think, yeah, I think that was definitely cartoon based. Um, but besides that, uh, I want to talk about this film being also one of the first movies to get the ratings board people kind of going, we need a middle ground between R and PG because this half and half crap is not cutting it, Mr. Dante. But it's 84. They don't know what to do yet, I think. When
Well,
when
but
was
didn't they? Didn't
PG-13 was invented in like 86, wasn't it?
it was actually? I think it. No, it was 84. 84. Because
Well,
Weird Science was 85, and that one was PG-13. Yeah,
but I mean,
I know what the first. I know what the first movie was too. The first PG-13 movie was uh Red Dawn, and I
hmm,
remember the specific movie that they were like, okay, this is not working, was the Indiana Jones.
that Temple of Doom, right?
Yeah, well, because like people
Yes.
were melting, and it was just like they were like, no, this is not working.
Because Raiders of the Lost Ark had a few of those moments um, that what you would see in a PG-13 movie nowadays, but it was definitely that sort of like Jaws, sort of like, yeah, there's definitely blood here, and this guy definitely got cut up by a giant propeller from a plane, but you didn't see it a lot. And yeah, these guys melted, but they're Nazis. Okay, they're supposed to melt.
They're supposed to melt. It's like the
and,
Wicked Scene.
but Temple of Doom, I mean, yeah, totally took it, way far, grabbing someone's heart, still beating, Kalema. Great scene. But I mean, and there's so many other moments in that movie too, with like the monkey brains and like all kinds of stuff where that movie definitely needed a PG-13. And Gremlins was one of those movies that was kind of jump kicking that a little bit, kind of getting people going. What's going on here with these Amblin guys? Are they trying to kill our kids?
Yeah, I mean, first ET, now Mac and Me, and now this.
um, I feel bad for saying that joke now because we'll talk about Twilight Zone the movie in the future, and there's a point where a couple of Amblin guys did kill some kids. So
Oh, that's true. Yep.
yeah, we'll talk about that another time, though, creepy peeps, because that's like going to be a mixture of like internet three-course, urban legend thrown in with the movie review. I just dropped another priceless medallion. Um, yeah, but in this film, our kid cast luckily is very limited, and our only kid is Corey Feldman. Kind of. I mean, there's other kids in the film, of course, running around being stupid, but the only one that we get enough of lines from is Mr. Corey Feldman, who was a very popular 80s kid actor and now is a creepy Michael Jackson looking guy.
I'll be honest, I forgot he was in this.
Yeah, and you know what? I do too. I always, when I look back at the lineup, I go, yeah, Goonies, okay, Lost Boys, for sure. I always forget about Gremlins until I see him. And I think it's because of the haircut. He's got like some sort of weird, like normal, like mop, like bowl cut 80s kid haircut in this.
That's probably it.
Yeah. Plus, you see him inside like a Christmas tree for like the beginning part, and you're like, okay, who's this Christmas tree kid? Then you see him for like one scene at the end where he's like shooting like I forgot what the thing is called, but he's like shooting rocks at like gremlins trying to climb up on his roof. I think Nigel had a heart attack for
McDonald's X Crocs Grimace.
What?
I'm sorry.
Is this a bit? What's going on?
Something popped up on my Gmail here. It was like, oh, get the McDonald's hamburger Crocs while you can. And I was like, this
what?
And I clicked on it, and at first I'm seeing, all right, McDonald's classic hamburglar, McDonald's classic clog, McDonald's X Birdie, McDonald's X Grimace. I could get just a guy purple. Grimace.
Do not McDonald's X Crocs X just a guy this.
Dude, but they've got the fabric insole. They've got a Grimace action figure on the front. Grimace's face on the front.
Here's the thing. I would only get a Grimace action figure if he actually had like the soft purpley like fur on the outside.
That's what weird? These shoes have.
Well, I mean, their slippers. I mean, you could expect it from there. I'm talking about like if I was to get like a Grimace like guy, you know, a little Grimace guy, he needs to be like fuzzy, you know, not fuzzy, but like, you know, he's got to have like the purple velvet fur, you know. Don't give me some plastic big gumdrop purple raindrop looking guy with a face. That is not Grimace. All right.
It's too much like you.
Well, thanks. You
Grimace is purple.
you need to give Grimace the proper Five Nights at Freddy's smudgy, dirty, stinky purple coat. Okay. You know all these big furry mascot creatures stink. That chicken girl from McDonald's too, the one that looks like Chica. You know,
dude, Birdie. Can you show some respect? I just said the name.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Ronald McDonald died for your sins. Okay.
Hey,
he sees you with that basket of fries every week.
Ronald McDonald was doing fine when I was a kid. Okay, I did nothing wrong. I could still sit in his lap. And now when
what?
Well, no, you can still sit remember the statues that they used to have sitting out?
I never sat in their lap. What are you trying to get? All right.
Well, no, I never sat in
McDonald's French fry with the sun don't shine.
Okay. Well, anyways, let's talk about more about this Gremlins film. I'll tell you what. This film, I love the moment it turns 180. And I want to say it's probably one of the most chilling moments. I just want to talk about this great chilling moment. It's when the gremlins are first starting to hatch from their cocoons and the teacher gets like killed and like Billy finds his body with like the syringe in him. You know that part?
Yeah.
Yeah. That part's great. And like Gremlins 2 doesn't like Gremlins 1 for sure has more horror in it. Like Gremlins 2 still has like sort of like and like kind of like kind of moments, you know. But like this first one, and speaking of which, Gremlins 1 was originally supposed to be an all-out horror. There's an original script I'm not sure if it's like public or not, but I heard on a few like DVD commentaries that like in the original script, the mother dies and Billy comes home in time to see her head rolling down the front stairs, which is like, what?
But that makes sense. That makes sense because her fight with the Gremlins is one of the more
Gorier scenes. Yeah.
yeah.
She
Except it ends up being more gory for the Gremlins themselves.
That's true. That's true. And I just love that kitchen scene. I
You want to
love
know
it.
something though?
What?
I'm glad they didn't go that route with the horror, because you
Me
know what
too.
I just realized, had they
What?
done that and not made it just a little bit scary like it is now, it would have been Critters. It would have been another
That's right.
forgettable,
You're right.
like miscellaneous monster movie that no one cares about. Like
If they went,
it wouldn't even it wouldn't even have been like Tremors, because like Tremors, I'll be honest, I hadn't seen Tremors till recently. I saw Tremors recently. The kill at the end that Kevin Bacon does, all right, genius. All right, I never
yeah,
would have thought of it.
yeah,
But like, yeah, Gremlins, had it been an all-out horror, I don't think it would have had nearly the cultural. Think about it. No one's talking about Critters these days.
no one.
The only people talking about Critters are complaining about Critters. All right,
And the only
it's like
people who
Patrol
know
2.
about critters are people who know about gremlins first.
That's true. Yeah.
And there's no way they probably would have been able to at the time market uh not market the film, but like sell gremlins plushies, like little gizmo plushies. I don't think they would have been able to do that at all, because
No.
if they went that direction, they also in the original script, Gizmo was going to turn evil. He was going to turn into Stripe in the original script.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting for that. Every time I watch the movie, even though I know that Gizmo never turns bad, for some reason I was waiting for him to. I'm always waiting for him to. In
Really?
fact, I remember the first time I rewatched it, like a few years ago, I was like, okay, so when does Gizmo turn into Stripe? Because I could have sworn that that's what happened.
Right. And I'll tell you what, the like Joe Dante and the people behind Gremlins, they're pulling a Robert Zemeckis on us. They're saying there's no absolute reason for us to make a Gremlins 3 at all. Just like how they're saying there's no reason for us to do a Back to the Future 4. And I get that. Back to the Future trilogy is perfect. Leave that as it is. The only way I would want them to do a Gremlins 3, if ever, is finally make Gizmo eat after midnight. Just do it. We've already had our 2 movies where you're like, oh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna? Oh, no, he's not. And it was in the original script. I feel like it'd be a cool callback to people who know, but also it'd be a perfect way to shake it up.
Gremlins 3 should just be with the original script. Because this is, I'll be honest, okay, actually, wait, that's what I was going to say. Okay, you know what? You know what made this movie is such a hit that it actually gives you Mandela effect with other movies. For example, all right, Critters, I didn't know was an actual movie. I thought I was just making that up in my own head. I thought I was just getting it mixed up for Gremlins. Then I saw a Nostalgia Critic review it a couple of years ago, and I'm like, oh, okay, it is a real movie.
And
Okay,
there's like 1,000 sequels too.
exactly. But you know what else has 1,000 sequels?
What?
Ghoulies.
Yeah, that's true.
And Ghoulies, I thought was Gremlins also. Ghoulies, there's a Ghoulies like 4 that only came out like 10 or 11 years after the first one, maybe less. And
Really?
I'm like, okay, they've got tighter sequels than
Then
like in like
Gremlin.
the movie Troll, all right? Troll
Oh yeah,
Troll 2
and
came
Troll
out like
2.
just a couple of years after, and it's also got like the little monster, It's just
Oh my god! I had to do it. I'm sorry.
No. By all means, because here's the thing: like, what is happening? All right, this just like we complain now about Hollywood, like, oh, everything's a sequel, everything's a reboot. Apparently, that's just how it's always been. All right, if you really want to go
Honestly,
back
that
to a
is
time
how
where
it's
it
always
wasn't
been.
true, go back to like the 1940s. All right, get ready for Ben Hur 2. It's a madder world. Cleopatra, the Revenge,
Exactly.
and
And
everyone's favorite, Tammy and the Bachelor. The Bachelor Strikes Back.
and, and there was so many Dracula meets the mummy. The mummy goes on a date with the Wolfman. The wolf the Wolfman meets the mummy and Dracula. Dracula, Wolfman, mummy have threesome. Fishman joins in.
Wait a minute, Fishman, dude, come on.
What?
You know
Oh,
it's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
well, okay, but do you think I'm really gonna sit here and put that whole word sandwich out?
It looks like you can't even handle the single
Yeah,
word
I
sandwich.
can't even. That's what I'm telling you. I'm slipping up normally. You know, you think I can get the whole creature from the Black Lagoon out?
You just did. You got it. You got it out easier than sandwich.
It takes too long though.
It
I have to
takes
go. The
2
creature
minutes
from
to
the Black
go
Lagoon.
right.
Let's talk about a strange moment from this film from Phoebe Cates, who, okay, I want to know, did Fast Times at Ridgemont High come out before or after this?
Before.
Oh, okay. Um well, you know, I'm sure there was a very good reason for, you know, the dads to take their kids to see this film.
Oh, come on, dude.
Because they, you know, they can see one of their favorite movie characters again.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, this I really like Phoebe Cates. I think Phoebe Cates is funny in other stuff that I've seen her in. And this scene in particular, which even the Gremlins cast, you know, the crew, director, and even the Gremlins sequel itself make fun of this moment where Billy and is Gizmo in the backpack? I think he's in the backpack.
Dude,
And
Gizmo is. You know what Gizmo? You know where Gizmo is? Gizmo's out here doing a Mountain Dew Super Bowl commercial. All right, that's where he is.
oh my gosh! Wait, by the way, I really do like that Mountain Dew commercial. That's the closest we'll ever get to Gremlins 3, folks.
I'm a part of the Dew Nation, but you have got to be kidding me.
Hey, that was good though, right?
No, you know what? All right, because Gizmo bumped Pee Wee Herman from that commercial, as far as I'm concerned.
I'll tell you what. The only thing I don't like is like, oh, they did the whole thing where like when they try to bring back like an old like guy from the 80s, it's like, look, they have kids now. And it's like the stupid teenage daughter, Dad.
Yeah.
I hate that.
He's got human children.
Yeah. I hate it.
Oh, you know what? Actually, on that note, just really quick, I know this is a side tangent, but all right, you know what commercial actually got it right?
What?
Our least favorite from the hotel room back on the cruise. Guess who's back? Back again. For those of you who don't know, for a little context, what we're laughing about, there was a commercial that we saw. We were in the hotel room. We were getting ready to get on the boat. It was all these retired NFL players. They're like, you know what? We're coming back. And it's all these 75-year-old men. Guess who's back? Back again.
Oh my
got so
God.
mad at it after seeing it long enough. He just turned to me and he was like, guess who sucks?
Guess who sucks? Speaking of which, do you know what I just saw recently? I recently saw an ad with our you know, Creepy Peepers fans. You might recognize this character, Ric Flair.
Oh,
and he literally jumps on the commercial. He goes, "Woo! Here's a POV of me in St. Louis," and they literally like it's so crappily made, but like it spins around and it's like got his like Elton John hands in front as if for him. And he goes, first, I stroll into my favorite restaurant. And he walks into some restaurant in St. Louis. I'm like, no. You are walking into the St. Peter's McDonald's. That's where you're walking into, Ric Flair. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to everybody. Okay. He's not walking into this restaurant in St. Louis that you've seen. That I don't know, locals, if you've seen this ad. No. He is strolling into McDonald's and turning down his fans. He turned us away.
We're developing a real universe here, all right? We've got the Nut Tapper, we've got Friendly Neighborhood Ric Flair, we've got horrible commercials that just keep destroying the lives of us. We'll never sell. All right, Peepers fans, no, I've been thinking about this. All right, I'm serious about this. Pull the camera in on this.
Okay, I got it right here.
I vow, and you can quote me on this. All right, I want people to make Twitter clips on this for years to come. All right,
I'll get you in 4K, man.
This will never happen to the Peepers. We will never do this. We're not going to show up in 40 years on TV and go, you know what? I think this calls for a natural light cold brew coffee microbrew beer with CBD infused THC crystal. We're gonna come back and we're gonna review Bigfoot 2043, and we're gonna enjoy our Blue Chew tablets that will keep my dingling hard for years to come. It's just not gonna happen. All right, I'm not trying to dog on content creators who get sponsored. That's not the issue. My issue is that they try to just sneak them in like you're fooling anyone.
Yeah.
All right. Like some people dog on one of my favorite podcasts. Steve-O has a podcast where every time he does this little ad break, people get mad. They're like, "Oh, you're breaking up the story and stuff." All right. At the very least, he does this kind of cool effect where he pulls out of the TV screen and it cuts to him in the editing room, literally reading the ad to you live as he's editing. That I think takes effort.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
there's some YouTubers who are like, "Oh man, you know what? There's this guy who's just killing kids on TikTok. But you know what kills me? When I can't get my meal prep ready on Blue Apron." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
It's and sometimes the bit's funny but it's only funny once. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the same YouTuber do the same bit where it's like, haha, look how unrelated this segue is, but I have to e-bag, and it's like, yeah, I get it. But come on. Just do the ad with the video. But back to what we were saying about Gremlins with this funny moment. I don't exactly know the reason why, but the filmmakers decided to include a moment in this film, I guess, to build character or backstory for Kate's character, where the whole town outside, it's going to ruckus because the Gremlins have multiplied. They're tearing the city apart. And they go into an abandoned bank where they originally find a dead body, but that was in a deleted scene that they cut out. But they're basically in there. I know, gruesome movie again. But basically, she's like, I hate Christmas. I knew this would happen. Christmas is terrible. And Billy's like, why do you say that? And she's like, you know what? It was Christmas and my blah, 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 someone with her dad. And he was like, he was going to surprise us. So he went into the chimney, but this stupid mother fell down the chimney and broke his neck and died. She says, word for word, snapped his neck and died instantly. And it's just like, it's such an odd way. It's just like it's so out of place and it's so odd and so just kind of like, oh my God, like what? Like, ugh. And she's like,
you know what's worse?
I hate Christmas because of this.
I was watching this when I did my first rewatch, as I was talking about a while back. When I did my first rewatch of this, I was with my good friend of the Just a Guy Network. He was on a couple fan mail segments. I was talking to Nathan. All right, I was with Nathan, and we were all watching this. We had like a group of friends together. We were all watching this during my first rewatch, and he was like, "Yeah, this movie gets dark at random spots." And I'm like, "Wow!" But here's what's so jarring about it: it's not that it's just a random like dark story; it's that this movie was already dark enough. And considering that like what it was, if they're like, "Oh, we have to turn down the darkness in it," then but you still have all this stuff in, and it's not even like it's okay. It's too dark where I can't enjoy the story anymore. It's just it's oddly dark and kind of like it's oddly dark in the way where it's like, okay, this is just creepy. That's like
It
if you were watching like the Creepy Peepers movie and we gave you a couple decent scares and then out of nowhere we were like Muddy and we just panned behind us and Muddy like ate Tyson and his bloody body is just dragged all over the room. It's like that's just weird. All right. Like, what are you
yeah,
doing?
that yeah, and it doesn't help that she's like telling this like, and there's like a fire going underneath her, and they're like in a dark part of the room.
Yeah, they're just outside.
Yeah, it's like uh, it's crazy, and the sequel does a really hilarious spoof on the scene, but I want to get to that to when we actually talk about the movie. Um, what else do I? Oh, what's your favorite kill? Like death from this film.
There is a blender
This
kill,
is one
right?
of
Right
those
at the
kills
kitchen.
movie.
Am I misremembering, or is there a blender kill? I feel like there's a blender kill.
There's a gremlin who does get blended. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's it. Blender kill.
Blender kill. Yes, I agree. And I think for my favorite kill, because you chose a gremlin one, I'm gonna choose a human one. I'm gonna go with Mrs. Deagle getting flown out of the window. That's an iconic moment.
That was a good one. I actually
And
forgot about that one. Yeah, that is a good one.
my favorite part of that is when the cops just shine the light down and you just see the chair with her legs just up, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was Mrs. Oh, Deagle." I almost said it. I almost name dropped.
Oh, Stave job.
And I feel bad because you would have gotten a really good laugh out of it.
I probably would. Tell me after the podcast.
Okay.
But yeah. I think those are some pretty good kills. Should we jump into skull rating, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think we should jump into the skull ratings.
All right. I would give this. This is such a classic. I'm genuinely. I think I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
Woohoo! I
Yeah.
think I'll give it the same.
The
This
only reason it loses one skull from me is because it didn't know how much dark stuff to cut. And it's not that like okay, it's not that the Santa story ruins the movie. And it's not even
no.
that it brings down the experience for me that much. It's just knowing that it was originally supposed to be darker and that they cut that and made it kind of more comedic
Right.
in tone. It makes me just it the Santa story is too dark where like I I could show my kids Creep Show, but I
That's true.
couldn't show my kids this. It's just like I don't get me wrong, I probably could when you really think about it, but I couldn't, you know.
You
I
could
could
show
show
your kids all of Gremlins except for this one scene.
yeah, cuz like Creep Show 1 is is scary. All right? It is scary for a kid, but at the same time it knows how scary it wants to be.
Right.
Gremlins suffers a little bit from not knowing how scary it wants to be. So much so that I know that had I not watched, and me and Dana talked about this before the podcast actually, but this was I'm sure a lot of people listening to the podcast might have first seen the movie even um, through this manner. But this was a movie that was syndicated a lot on Nickelodeon, and they
Yeah.
cut that big fight scene with the Gremlins and the kitchen kills.
Yes.
So
The whole fight scene in the kitchen with the mother, which is we didn't get into much, but it's full of blending and exploding gremlins and chopping limbs and all kinds of stuff. But it's done to these little gremlins, so it's not horrific, but it's still like ooh. And yeah, Nickelodeon airings, like as far as I remember, completely cut this scene.
yeah, because I don't remember seeing this, and I know I would have remembered seeing it.
Oh yeah.
But
Also, I
yeah,
wanted to mention really quickly, speaking of Back to the Future earlier, I forgot to mention, if you look closely, the town square in this movie is the same town square in Back to the Future. It's even got
and you know what?
it's the
I'm
same
not
mall and
surprised
everything.
because it's a. I mean, obviously it's a lot,
Yeah, it's
but
the same Warner Brothers lot.
yeah, they actually showed this during there's the did you see the Impractical Joker's Punishment where Q's got to keep stopping the Universal Studios tram tour?
No, I don't think so. But yeah,
Well, during
on the
that
tram tour.
punishment, yeah, we see the little Hill Valley town
Yeah.
square. But yeah, anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't
I
slow
just
down the pacing of the movie that much, but it's just a little too dark for what this movie's supposed. Like, had the story just been that, okay, my dad was trying to be Santa, and then he ended up falling down the chimney, and he was in the hospital, and then late, even if they said that he was in the hospital and then later on he died, like maybe like a year later he died from his injuries, that would still be dark, but like not as bad. All right, but
right.
saying he snapped his neck in your chimney, that's not. You know what?
That's
Maybe that's
that's
it.
a lot. And
Maybe that's it. This is a Christmas movie where you're telling me that your father pretended to be Santa Claus, snapped his neck into your chimney, and died. That's too dark for a Christmas movie. That's why I don't like it.
it's a lot. And the that's something that Gremlins 2 definitely improves on is its tone. It nails the comedy to like action ratio. Um but like and this is also like a thing you can't show your kids because he tops it off by saying, "That's how I found out there's no Santa Claus." Because
Oh shoot, I forgot about that.
right, that's how she ends the whole monologue is being like, "Yeah, my dad dressed up as Santa Claus and snapped his neck in a chimney, and that's how we found out Santa Claus wasn't real." And it's like that's a lot. And
They
and
broke
they
the number one rule.
and they broke the rule too. They went there. And you actually see a Santa Claus getting attacked by gremlins in the street in this movie.
Oh well, he deserved it. That was the Home Alone Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I've
What's your? You said it was also 9 out of 10.
yeah, I believe I
Oh,
did too because I think I want to save the 10 for Gremlins too.
good. Yeah, I can accept that.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to see Gremlins too. That's a really good one. But that, folks, was our Gremlins episode. And if we just so happen to forget something that was really crucial, why don't you let it go? But thank you guys so much for listening. And what do you got to say, Mr. Nigel?
We will see you next time. Hopefully, with another quick Christmas episode before the holiday season rolls around.
Yeah.
On the Creepy Peepers
Podcast. past.
We'll be seeing you.
It's a creep show too, creep. Get out of here.
Merry Christmas, Peepers.
That's a blessing.
You know, it'd be a blessing, a little peace and quiet around the holidays.
You sound like a grandpa.
Dude, I am a grandpa. You should have seen me. I I sat down while I was playing pool with my friends the other day. I was over at Anto's with Jordan Tucker and who else? Ian Pierce. Ugh. But anyway, I was there. We were all playing pool, and I like sat down at one point, and Jordan Tucker's like, "You want to be somebody's grandpa so bad." I'm like, "Dude, leave me be, all right? Just because I have a lower back pain, and
Did you sit down and go, oh?
I probably did, to be honest." There, you should see me right now. I'm wearing an Argyle sweater by choice.
This has been a Just a Guy Network audio production.